We are committed to making this episode absolutely unlistenable.
I don't care for it. I don't care for butt stuff.
Who says I can't wear my Converse with my dress?
Can't use this clip.
We have to. It's so funny.
The other music's gonna be playing on top.
Welcome back to Girl Historians.
Yeah,
I'm Carley.
I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history. Okay, guys. This is a crazy start to this episode. I'm obsessed with it. This is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls. We're in the studio.
We're in the studio, fuckers.
Yeah.
Welcome to the studio. We have a soundboard.
It's a mistake.
It's got sound effects on it.
It's really, like, we should not have known. What is the... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is... Get ready for the episode of your life.
Mine's making crazy sounds.
We're in the studio, bitch.
We have like a soundboard that it's like we're shock jocks from the 90s. It's awesome. Yeah, we're in a studio right now. I'm obsessed.
Get ready for Girl Historian Sound Effects Edition.
We are committed to making this episode absolutely unlistenable.
We were listening back to some of the episodes. We were like, this is too enjoyable of an experience. Yeah, that's you guys, but afterwards you're gonna be... Those are crickets.
Sorry,
Say
guys.
Nothing.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Spooky Halloween edition.
Yeah, it's Ooh. I wish we had sound effects that were actually...
I know, I wish we had a scary ghost noise.
Yeah, or I remember I had a keyboard growing up that had like, you know, it's one of those like electric ones where it has all those different settings. You can make like an organ.
Oh, yeah.
There was one that was just a soundboard and it had so many Michael Jackson sounds. It was like, Shimon! Ah! And I wish that was all what this soundboard was. If I could program it myself, just 8 Michael Jackson.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's one. Come on.
I
love it.
can't really do Michael Jackson sounds.
Neither can I, but I'm obsessed with it. Really, you said you couldn't.
Wow.
You're killing it. This is already devolved so fast.
Hey.
Oh, so good.
I know.
No, that shit's good.
Just as she is the one. Ow.
Love him.
Yeah.
Did nothing wrong.
What were you talking about?
I'm watching 30 Rock for like the first time. Like I watched it as a kid because my mom's low-key a comedy fan. She's like,
Crazy.
Loves 30 Rock, loves The Office, listens to Smart List, loves Arrested Development. Like she's kind of cuckoo.
Okay.
But I only watched it when I was a kid with her, and I'm rewatching it now. And it is so funny. I haven't gotten, I'm sure there's parts that it's Tina Fey, so I'm sure it gets racist. Like,
yeah,
I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure it will get there.
Well, the Jenna Malone Indigenous storyline is
that's
unhinged.
in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh.
Because I was talking about this recently where we were like, there's a lot of like, in kind of like 30 Rock stuff, there's a lot of like, it's like not good, but it's very like of its time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas the Indigenous storyline where her character is Indigenous but pretending to be white, but it's just played by a white woman.
Yeah.
It's just like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in like 2018. Like that's tough.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's tough. It's tough to argue. I'm popping my piece, so I gotta.
That's fine.
That's tough.
That's tough. Tough. That's tough. No, but you know what? To be fair, I feel like we all know someone who like finds out that they have like 1/18th Indigenous ancestry, and
absolutely,
that's rough.
Yeah, and they don't investigate. Why?
You should look into why.
Why would it only be a little bit? Do you think it might be because of a sex crime?
Maybe.
I think it would maybe be a sex crime.
We've covered so many sex crime topics in the first 2 minutes of this episode.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Love. How was your week,
Love
Blair?
life.
What's going on?
Girl.
Girl.
Okay, here's the saga, and if you've been following Girl Historians, you will know that there is construction outside of my window for a week and a half, so I was just averaging a hot 3 hours of sleep a night. And now I'm just rocking in like a weird sleep debt that I've just been trying to cure. Because also, like, of course the construction never happens when you have a week off. It's going to happen in the busiest
when it rains and pours
fucking month of your life.
Absolutely.
So
it's like when my neighbor got a baby for 1 week.
No, it's a nightmare.
And I was like, now I'm actually chill. Like the baby could exist now and it'd be fine.
Yeah,
but
the
when
baby's
it's
fine.
crying when I actually have to do shit.
So I'm like good. I've just been like kind of depressed and trying to pull myself out of it.
Yeah.
Cause like I've had depression for a long time, and like every once in a while I just like get super depressed, and I'm like, actually, like I've decided don't really want to do this anymore.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I'm feeling like a bit better. I'm just like wrecked. Like I think tonight I'm just gonna sleep in a huge way.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Like maybe do a little bit of work and then conk out.
That's the tough thing about not smoking weed is you can't just like conk yourself out medically on account of the fact that you're addicted to weed.
Yes, exactly. I can't do it because I'm addicted to weed.
Because you're the only person in the world that's addicted to weed.
The only person in the world who's been addicted to weed, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll
be nice. Though.
That's my week. I don't even know what the hell else I've done.
What is your ideal night in, like a cozy night? Like if you're having a really big day and you're like, I have a night off.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like to you?
I definitely love a bath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely need to like. I don't know if other people can like relate to this, but like I will never feel like I'm like relaxing at home unless I like clean beforehand. You know what I mean? Like I need a shower or a bath or something.
Absolutely.
Or else I just feel gross.
I agree.
Yeah, like I never feel normal. So definitely like bathe, and then like honestly, I love TV and movies. I think I'm too much of an active fan to really relax while I watch them. Like I get very amped up by movies, and then I'm like reading the Wikipedia page on filmmaking afterwards. I'm like, how did they do this?
Yeah, so it's not relaxing to you.
Yeah, so I think like honestly, just like reading, playing some music.
Hell yeah,
I like to be like in my bed.
Yeah,
it's a really toxic trait of mine. I love being in bed.
When Reese was away at the Vancouver Improv Festival, my partner,
huge.
Yeah, he was on tour.
Yeah, he was on tour.
Improv tour.
No big deal.
Because he usually goes to bed much earlier than me, so I often can't just like be up at midnight watching something in bed.
Which is so rude of him.
I know. And it was so nice to be able to do that, but it just destroyed my sleep schedule. So I could just be in bed doing shit.
Yeah.
Like I think it's actually maybe better for me I do a lot. This morning I was like, I knew that I had to finish the script and do some stuff, so I like got up, made a coffee, made some pancakes. Kind of crazy of me.
Yum.
We have nothing in the house. Like we have no food. So it's like I'm making pancakes to eat breakfast. You know what I mean? Because we don't have cereal or bread.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Which is crazy.
I need to just do like a shop.
I know. It just always feels like I run out of the things I eat all the time, and then I'm left with just like, well, I have tons of curry paste.
Yes, this is exactly it.
Great.
Okay. What am I going to do with that?
I need bread.
Yes, please. Hello. So like, and then I got back in bed like to do work.
Huge.
It's lovely.
It's nice.
To be in bed is truly one of life's greatest joys. You have to admit.
I'm addicted to drinking coffee in bed. Like my favorite type of morning is like make a little coffee, bring it back to bed. You're kind of wearing like half pajamas at that point. Like you've kind of pulled it together a little bit.
Yeah.
I've also been sleeping. I usually sleep in sweaters when it's cold, but lately I've been sleeping in a hoodie with the hood pulled over my head.
Hell yeah.
It's amazing.
Protecting your solar plexus.
Protecting my solar plexus and also my eyes from the light a little bit. Because if fans don't know this, I don't have like curtains in my room. Yeah. Basically.
You're giving naked neighbor.
I am naked neighbor.
And I am naked neighbor too because I have really sheer curtains.
Yeah, but I live on like a main street.
With no curtains.
with no curtains.
Yeah.
But I just can't. I can't do blackout curtains. It's really,
I feel the exact same way. This is why
do it.
My curtains are sheer.
Yes.
So when I'm naked, you can still see me.
Yes.
But like,
I like to think you can.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you looking, fucking sicko?
Yeah.
But I agree.
Mind your business.
You need natural light,
especially in the mornings. Like I don't understand.
Yeah,
like
it fucks you up. You gotta wake up with the sun.
Slept over at someone's house and they like you wake up and they've like blackout curtains and you're like, oh my god, it's the middle of the night and they're like, nope, it's 10 a.m. I'm like,
it's horrible.
What's wrong?
I kind of feel like it's bad for you.
I actually think it like messes with your rhythm because like for me, I'm like the sun starts rising and I start like slowly.
I feel the same.
You know, and then you wake up and you're sort of like, it's the day.
Yeah, it eases you and you're not just like waking up in shock.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's horrifying. I agree. But I love getting a little coffee, getting into bed and like reading a book or watching a YouTube video or something.
It's really, really beautiful.
I've also been watching Abbott Elementary exclusively on my iPhone.
Okay.
Which is a move, but I'm really
interesting.
It's just
not Abbott Elementary. To watch something on your iPhone is shocking.
I'm
to me.
a big I've always watched TV on my phone and like my iPod Touch. It's just like it's a real comfort to me. People rip on me for this, but I really like it.
You're in the majority. I remember learning like statistically on YouTube, the majority of YouTube watchers watch on their phone.
I watch YouTube on my phone.
And I was like, that's exclusively fucking crazy. When I read that, I was like, that's nuts.
Well, I also functionally don't really have a laptop right now.
That's true. You have a desktop or your phone.
Yes, and I do have a laptop, but it's so old.
Yeah.
That I just hate using it now that I'm in the future with my desktop.
Yes.
I'm like zip-zopping around. I'm zip-zop-zapping. But then when I go on my laptop, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I can't justify buying a new laptop because I just bought my computer from the future.
Exactly.
So, hey. How's your week, girl?
I love this.
That's my signal to shut up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
No, that's not what that means.
How's
It was
your
good.
week, girl?
My week was good. I can't think of anything I've done. It's finally kind of feels like winter here. Like it's like becoming fall and winter.
Yes.
So I'm like fine, but my body is definitely like, I'm shutting down a bit. Like I feel, because I was like, why do I feel bad? Like everything's fine.
Yes.
But it's because it's winter and
it's cold.
It's because of seasonal depression. Just a titch.
Just a titch.
So that's fine. I'm going to Spain really soon. When this comes out, I'll be in Spain.
That's really España.
And I'm like not excited yet, but I really will be. I just hate traveling.
So exciting.
I like being.
Yes.
So once I'm there, it's going to be awesome. But I hate getting on a plane. Like I just don't want to do it.
Yes.
But that's what life. Like, get over it, Carley. Respectfully.
Yeah.
A man collapsed in front of me yesterday. I was at Woodbine Station.
Oh my God.
I was meeting somebody at a coffee shop just to like do work.
Huge.
And I was walking at a Woodbine Station and I didn't like really see it because I was bopping to my music. But then I kind of like heard like this guy just like in front of me like fell forward onto the concrete. And it was like me. And then a person was crossing the street and the person that was like right in front of them. And we were like, well, we have to do something. Like he was out cold.
Oh my God.
So the guy that ran across the street, like, I don't know if he wasn't like a doctor, but he was like at least somebody who had like some kind of first aid training.
He was a professional.
Like, yeah. Or at least somebody with a lot of confidence.
Okay, love that.
And like made sure he was like basically in the recovery position or whatever. Then the woman started calling an ambulance. But then there was an ambulance like literally just like across the street.
Yeah.
And I just like went in the middle of the road and was waving at them. And they just like waved back. And I was like, no, bitch. That's not what, no, that's not.
They're like, hey, girl.
I'm like, no. And then I was like pointing. And then there was a group of kids, maybe like first graders or whatever. And then they started pointing. And then the ambulance pulled over. And literally over the course of like 30 seconds, this man got, from fainting or having a seizure or whatever, got loaded into a gurney and put in the back of an ambulance.
Oh my God.
So I feel good about it. I'm like,
yeah, luckily,
it's
good they were there.
The odds are good.
Yeah.
But it was really crazy.
That's really scary.
It was beautiful in the sense that like, I was trying to explain afterwards when I got to the coffee shop. I was meeting Simon Owens, of course. And I was like, you would not believe what happened. There's one person I know that lives in the east end of the city. So we were just like doing work together. And I was like, it's such a weird thing of like, I think the way that they would present something like that in movies is like it's almost like driven by narcissism or like a need to save. Unless you're like a doctor, then obviously, you know what I mean? It's a little different. But for regular people being like, we have to save him. And I was like, it doesn't really feel like that in the moment. It's not like exciting or you're like self-aggrandizing. You're just like, well, there's a guy on the ground. Like, I'm not going to leave him.
Was he on the sidewalk or in the road?
Sidewalk.
Okay,
but he like fell forward. Like I'm worried about his. I feel like he has a concussion. I will say I'm really desensitized to the sound of head hitting things because Reese hits his head every day. Like I was putting it on a spectrum, and the worst I've ever heard was when we were in Berlin. Everything is small because it's old, and he was running up the stairs from this little shop in a basement.
Oh my God!
And he hit his head on like a stone kind of situation.
Oh my God!
And it was the most disgusting. Like it was like somebody was, what is that called when they put sounds in a movie? Like
a Foley artist?
Yes, there was a Foley artist and it was a Foley artist. And I want you to imagine the sound of like an ice pick hitting ice in a movie. Like that's what his brain sounded like. And we just sat on the corner outside and I was like looking up hospitals because I was like, we have to take you to a hospital. And he was like shaking. Das Hospital.
Das Hospital.
And he was fine, but it was like that was the worst. And this sounded bad, but I was like not even close to that.
Yikes.
And there was a woman named Margot who was there on the street with me, not in Germany. This was back at Woodbine Station.
Her name is Margot.
Because we were walking after.
Margot. I just, a song?
No, I don't, but I love it.
Okay.
I would love to be named Margot. I told her this because you know how because we were both going to the same coffee shop, so we had to walk. She was meeting her adult children. One lives in Africa and one lives in New York City.
Okay, love. Why am I crying right now?
I know, beautiful. And I was like, I would love to be named Margot. Like, that's a beautiful name. Mm-hmm. And that's really the end of the story, but I loved her.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. But she was like, I hope he's okay. And I was like, I mean, I was there when it happened. Like,
I don't think he's okay.
He's not okay, but he's as okay as he could ever be. Like, it really wasn't long. Like,
that's good.
It was truly within like a minute. There was a paramedic was doing stuff to him.
That's
Although
so
I will say the paramedic got out of the ambulance and poked him on the ground, being like, "Are you okay?" And I wanted to be like, "Sir, respectfully, we've poked him already. We've tried that.
Poked him.
We've tried poke. Are you okay?
We've done poke. Are you okay?
There's now 8 of us on the sidewalk. Like,
slap.
We've exhausted those options. We haven't.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not medicine.
Yes.
A 2-finger poke on his shoulder. Are you okay? I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's like how they tell you in like in first aid training that you're supposed to like rub your knuckles on someone's sternum.
I did not know this. Okay.
Have you done first aid training?
Well, after this, I was saying I did when I was really, really little. I don't remember anything. I remember CPR. That's it. And I want to take a class now.
You should.
I think it would be good just to have that information.
Oh yeah.
Like if we went hiking and you fell, I should be able to make a tourniquet for you. You know, I would feel better with that information. I remember CPR because I'm so small. But they were like, you're really gonna have to like put your body on. Like you're gonna have to put your body weight into it as opposed to your like upper arms, which is fair. Like I have no upper body strength.
Yeah.
And I remember on those dummies being like, this feels really bad. And they're like, it's gonna feel you're gonna be breaking their ribs. Like you have to.
Absolutely.
But
I would totally take a class with you because this is one of the only periods in my life I can't remember. My certification for sure is expired now, but like I just think it's such a valuable thing to have, and they're always changing the ways you do things.
Well, yes. One time when we were at Second City, remember when we were at Second City to see that con show? Yeah. A man had a seizure in the audience.
Horrifying.
And somebody was like, "Oh, you should put a credit card in his teeth," and then they were like, "No." Not anymore. Like it's changed.
Yeah, you move it along.
Yeah, you just let them because they can bite their tongue, but it's better than just shattering all their teeth. I think is the idea.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I don't have first aid training, so don't take my word for on this. But I was like, I'm gonna look into it because it can't be that long, and it would just be nice to know because
I feel like it's just been like a 2-day thing, and I feel like they also make it like pretty like usually it's either free or very cheap.
Yeah,
and like community centers do them. Like
it just seems good because even in that moment, I was like, all I can do is like, well, she's already taken calling the ambulance. Yeah. Like, if there wasn't an ambulance there to wave down, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't help.
No, 100%. Well, like, especially if someone falls like that, you're not really supposed to do anything. You're supposed to just kind of like...
No, but I don't even know. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, what would you do?
One person who was just like, okay, like, I think they made sure, because I believe, like, you know, if somebody's going to throw up or whatever, like, you want to make sure that they're not like...
Yeah, for sure. You want to make sure they're on their side.
Yes.
I used to be such a little bitch about that in university when people would pass out drunk.
The backpacks? Did you do the backpack?
The backpack? No, what's that?
Yeah, if somebody's, like, asleep and they're really, really drunk, you put a full backpack on their back, just so they have to sleep on their side and they can't fall asleep on their back or their front.
No, I've never done that.
That's really for the podcast listeners. I never did it, but I saw people do it, and I remember being like, "That's smart."
Yeah. No, I'm like a little bit of a freak.
Well, you don't want to. John Bonham died like in his own vomit, I believe, and like that's not the way to go.
Well, this is the thing. I'm just like, there's so many ways that people die that are just so preventable.
Yeah.
Like
somebody should be with John Bonham when he's really drunk. like he's famous.
Yeah. Let's be so careful.
Yeah.
Let's be so freaking
Let's be so freaking careful with John Bonham.
Let's be so freaking careful here. What have we been talking about?
Do you know what you're going to be for Halloween?
Okay.
Because it's Halloween when this is out. Happy spooky season, everybody.
I'm really... Okay, so first of all, I'm extremely confused about when I'm going out for Halloween because we have a show on Halloween. You're gone.
Yes, I am.
You're not here. But I have a show on Halloween that Carley's not in. And so...
But I would have been if I was here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just important for everyone to know that I was invited.
Rude. So I don't know if we're doing costumes for that and if we're going out after or if it's just a show.
I would imagine people are going out after.
It's real Halloween. And then the day after that, November 1st, there's a party and I assume that's when I'll dress up.
Yeah.
Here's my ethos about Halloween though.
Once it's November, it's not Halloween anymore, is mine.
Okay, I don't believe that because I think that November 1st this year is the Halloween party day. I disagree. I know people are saying it's the 25th and the 26th. That to me is bananas. I don't think that's true. Also, Thursday is my favorite day to go out. I love going out on a Thursday. So if
I know,
we go
I do
out
too. But that's
Halloween,
that's jobless behavior.
That's jobless behavior.
But I agree.
But I have a lot of friends with jobs who are just sort of like, oh, it's Friday, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Friday and Thursdays are my big, like usually those are the days I don't have anything to do if I have a day where I don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
If I'm blessed that week.
Yes.
But okay, here's my ethos. I really only I realized like traditional Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of over this micro niche reference kind of shit. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I was thinking of being like an angel or a devil.
I love that.
And then
reject modernity, embrace tradition.
This is because last year I was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and I just felt great about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a fun in the reference immediately just when you tell people who you are.
Yeah.
But then it goes away really quick because I think also a lot of times references aren't. And if you want to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But like, I think oftentimes people do that so they don't have to like do a real costume.
Yes.
And I think the point of Halloween is to look whack. Like you should look how you
Yes.
don't look normally. You can be a witch. Like I was a witch last year and I didn't look that different, but it's a costume, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's not like blue jeans and a red top or whatever, you know? I think you should be wearing a costume because that's the fun of it. You shouldn't have to look good if you don't want to, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking about being, as far as the more niche things, I was thinking about being Natasha Lyonne in But I'm a Cheerleader.
Oh, great movie.
And they go to the gay conversion camp.
Yeah, so pink.
Yeah, because I was looking at like who has like red hair, because like
this is the big thing. You have to find somebody who has the same hair color as you.
Yes, exactly. And she's kind of like an iconic redhead, kind of like gay. So I might do that, but I'm also trying to get our improv team on Halloween to dress up as when in the 360 music video when Charlie XCX is wearing like a white tank top and she's spilling red wine all over it.
Everyone has a white tank top with red wine spilled all over it.
Do you know the part of the 360 music video? Yeah, and it's her, Rachel Sennett, Julia Fox. And they're wearing white tank tops in like a gym with like black bottoms, and then she's spilling red wine all over her shirt. And that's what I'm trying to get our improv team to do.
So that's a bit referential.
It's extremely referential, but I also think it'd be funny.
Yeah, I remember I did a set with Tim Blair of our improv troupe last Halloween, and I jokingly said we should all dress as minions, and nobody did, and he did. He just showed up as a minion, but he does what a lot of guys do, of like doesn't even address the message, or like I was like, well, if I knew you were doing this, I would have contacted you, but like
I would have also dressed up as a minion. No, why do men do that?
They just don't respond and then they show up. Obviously, we should start talking about the topic, but have you seen this Quebec separatism stuff happening again? Have you seen this?
Is it happening again?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm with it. Quebec, I stand by you being your own country.
This is, okay, so if you're not from Canada, we have like a French-Canadian province called Quebec.
And they think they're a country.
They're excited to be a country and really interested in the prospect. So what was it, in the 90s?
60s.
Sorry, that's so embarrassing of me.
Well, it's been ongoing.
Yes, but they had a referendum in the 60s.
Yes.
They took a cabinet minister hostage, like the separatist groups.
The FLQ.
Yes, which is why, like,
Infinite Jest, big plot line.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the FLQ is super prevalent in Infinite Jest.
I've been talking about David Foster Wallace a bit because Aaron Foster, who is the show like creator of Nobody Wants This, is David Foster's children. Not David Foster Wallace, David Foster, who wrote St. Elmo's Fire, the song.
Oh.
And is Catherine McPhee's husband.
Wow.
Catherine McPhee is actually younger than David Foster's daughters, which is awesome.
Whoa.
They're like 35 and she's like 32 or whatever.
Okay.
So that's really cool.
Epic.
But I keep saying David Foster Wallace anyways. So
you've been speaking about him wrongly.
Incorrectly. Dragging his name through the mud.
Awesome.
But yeah, they had like a referendum to be like, are we going to separate from the rest of Canada? And they voted to remain.
But like by like such a slim margin.
Yeah, and because I think generally speaking, we don't have time to get into all of the lore of Quebec.
We should do an FLQ episode.
We should
really just
get abducted.
Get some Quebec,
become hostages.
Get some Quebec haters.
Yeah, because I do think it's a big like. There's an issue in Quebec of like Anglo versus French. That's really what it comes down to, is that in order to preserve the French language, it's like all the English public school teachers got forced out, even if they spoke French. Crazy stuff like that. So people who voted to remain are the Anglos, and the people who probably wanted to separate more often than not were French. Anyways, I believe it's like the leader of the Bloc Québécois or whoever is running for premier. Yeah, premier. was like, we're gonna have another referendum if I get voted in or whatever. Love. I cannot wait for that lore. That's the reason why Toronto is like the biggest city in Canada. It was supposed to be Quebec, but then everyone was like, there's a civil war going on
in Quebec, so we need another major city. And so they like, which is why Toronto's filled with like the wackest 60s architecture that was built in like 2 months, because they were like, we need a financial center.
And our highways are just insane because it was meant to be the highways to like Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Like they thought Winnipeg was going to be a bigger city than Toronto.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, lol, never mind. We have to move it. It's literally like, let's take Bikini Bottom and move it somewhere else. It's like, we need to move the cultural center of Canada somewhere else.
We have to work with this.
We have to work with it.
We literally cannot not do this.
But I was thinking of you because I was like, it's going to make it a lot harder for Blair to have her move to Quebec Dreams when it's a separate country.
That kind of rocks, though. Honestly, I think it's one of those things I probably shouldn't joke about, but I do have a story where I hooked up with a guy in Montreal one year, and he was
this is the guy who hated Canada.
Oh, hated Canada. And it's like, so I was partying with these like people who were all like super, super French, like did not speak English. And I want to just say before we start, I'm not supporting Canada. Like, if you want to separate, girl, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just think it's kind of like, it's something that like, for me, obviously, like people are so invested in it. To me, I'm just like, LOL, sure. Like,
yeah, try it out.
Because I think that like French Canadians are honestly like kind of iconic, if not extremely racist most of the time.
But both things can be true.
Both things can be true. But like none of these people at this party spoke English at all. And so to communicate with them, I was so drunk, I showed them Young Gravy.
Love that.
This was 2020.
And that's why they decided to separate.
Yeah.
They said we cannot be associated with this. They all just sat there
like, what the fuck? But then I hooked up with this guy and he literally had a fleur-de-lis, which is like the symbol of Quebec, like above his bed.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, we should like see each other again while you're here. And I was like, no, but like, let me know if you're ever in Toronto. He's like, I would never go to Ontario.
Okay,
and
girl.
I was like, okay, bye. He gave me a glass of scotch and I drank it, then I left.
Crazy.
Honestly, an iconic experience.
That is really wild.
Yeah.
I love that, though.
I just like being, I will never go to Ontario.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll probably not see each other again,
I'm like,
then.
probably gonna, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Forever.
It was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, that is funny.
But that's funny to just get the separatists back in the movement. That's what we need, I think.
A little, well, because that's, and again, I agree. Probably there are issues about it that are quite serious that I'm just ill-informed on.
Same.
But not being informed on it, it's just funny, and I'm like, let them try it.
Well, I am. I do think that we should divvy up the United States and Canada.
I agree.
It doesn't make a lot of
sense.
sense.
Staunch regionalists on this podcast.
Yeah.
Why? I'm with Alberta. Like, I don't think that the needs of Toronto and the needs of Alberta are even remotely similar. And let's let them two-step it out over there.
Yeah.
And then it's like us and
the Great Lakes cities.
That's what we need. That's what it should be.
That's what we should be grouped in with Chicago and Detroit and like all these other, you know what, like that region. And then they should do the Maritimes and the coast.
Yeah.
And then like Seattle, Vancouver, all that, Alberta and the middle countries. And then give the territories, you know, like just
the Southern
protect
United
them.
States should just kind of deal with what they have to do. I don't want to be, I mean, I guess I'm not because I'm in Canada, but it feels like there's a lot going on there. And if we let them be a separate, I guess this is the Civil War. Yeah. I guess if we let them be separate, they would bring slavery back. So maybe we actually shouldn't let that happen.
No, I don't think that we should let the South. I think that we should just divide even if it's not country lines, just a little bit more like regional solidarity, I think, is needed.
Definitely.
I don't understand why we do these country lines. It's all bullshit. We're just soft launching the fact we both believe in manifest destiny, which is crazy. I remember, like, if you don't know what manifest destiny is, it's
we don't have.
Yeah, I'll do a summary of manifest destiny. But it's basically like when the United States was becoming independent, they were just like, we also need Canada because it's like our destiny, like given by God, and like Britain was just like
to expand, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This is our. It was literally like you said, our destiny. This is our destiny. God let us know. We need to be separate.
Yeah. And we also need Canada. And Canada was just sort of like, no. And then they fought us. And Canada, which was technically Britain at the time, won. And we burned down the White House. And
Laura Secord did something.
Laura Secord delivered a message with a cow. And when she was there, I guess the cow made chocolate or something. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's her
not
lore.
True. That's
well, she's a chocolate company now, but she was a woman who was basically Paul Revere. Like the Canadian Paul Revere
was Laura Secord.
Was Laura Secord. But imagine if you're in America that you just have a chocolate company called Paul Revere.
Like, you know, when Paul Revere said, the British are coming and try my caramel truffles.
Yeah, what if we made Paul Revere a chocolate icon?
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like the Willy Wonka of the American
What if Willy
Revolutionary
Wonka
War.
found out that the British were coming and
exactly.
Willy Wonka went to warn everybody?
This is the thing. We're never talking enough about Willy Wonka. But why did I bring a Manifest Destiny?
That we believe in that. We should let the regions be the regions. Yeah.
But I was on a side of TikTok for a while where people were just saying, like, so Canada doesn't make sense. It should just be part of the United States. And, like, all the comments were just like, yeah, we should take Canada. And I was like, it's crazy how Manifest Destiny is just, like, coming up organically on TikTok.
Yeah, also, like,
funny.
respectfully to the States, like, you don't have the juice. Like, you're too busy funding 900 other wars at other parts of the world. Like, you can't, like...
You could not handle Lake Superior.
No, this is, like, we have no military. I'll be the first to admit that. It's kind of awesome. I wish we had less. I wish we had less military.
I wish we just had more boats.
Yeah, I agree. We need a navy. Big navy in the...
The Navy!
Get more navy! Yes.
This rocks.
Should we talk about Mary Shelley?
Yeah, let's talk. Oh, yeah, we're doing Mary Shelley today.
Yeah, we wanted to do a special. I mean, you saw it because you saw the topic, but the title. But we wanted to do a special, like, Halloween episode. And we talked a little bit about the writing of Frankenstein and Gothic literature on the Salem Witch Trials pop culture episode.
Yes.
So if you listen to that episode, there might be a little bit of repetition. Not a lot, but a bit. And I was like, we should really dig into, like, Mary Shelley is just metal. Like, she's just awesome. She's so goth and like has the juice. Like, she was goth when she was just weird, you know? Like, she wasn't doing it for an aesthetic.
No.
She wasn't doing a get ready with me on TikTok. She was just doing this shit for herself. Do you know? Like, and there's a real beauty in being goth for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm, like, obsessed with her.
There's a real beauty in just being like, I just feel like misery is my whole thing. I think, like, I like the darkness. Like, anyone who's really drawn to just, like, when the skies cloud over and the fog, like, descends, I'm just like, oh, you're cool for that.
I agree. I think it's hard to be like that now, though, because, like, everything is so tied up in aesthetics where it's, like, it wouldn't be about the darkness. It would be about, like, a Peter Pan collar and a black pinafore dress.
Which I've never understood that.
I can't, dude. I'm going to say something that's going to, like, get me in trouble because of this. Not, like, offensive, but I just can't with, like, there's so many people who, like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be upset about this, but it's like they claim the aesthetic of, like, authorship of, like, oh, I'm a Gothic author. And I'm like, you've bangs, bitch. Like,
yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? And, like, people are allowed to be however they want. It's just, like, a weird thing where, like, I think a lot of times people care way less about writing good things or making good things and way more about looking like they do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, no.
Well, it's the same with, like, everyone. Like, this whole alt thing is very weird to me where people will be like, oh, we're alt now, like, ooh, this my alt style, and it's like, so, like, no, I don't know what this is like, and I don't mean to sound 1,000 years old, but I just feel like alt to me was always just kind of like when you were just kind of like poor, and now it's like people, like, I don't understand, like, when people are just like, oh, this is alt, I'm like, I don't think it's the same with, like, preppy has completely changed definitions. Where it's like,
preppy has really, really changed definitions. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because I agree, they were, like, pretty intrinsically related to class. And then even when, like, Tommy Hilfiger became, like, a real staple and, like, an iconic kind of thing in more, like, underprivileged communities, it was, like, a weird, like, post-ironic thing.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, now those things are... Because they just want you to buy a bunch of stuff, right? Like, none of it is defined by, like, what it actually represents. It's all just like, you need a new aesthetic every mob wife aesthetic is in, blah 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 aesthetic is in, and it's a trap. Like,
no, it's ridiculous. We've lost the meaning of aesthetic completely.
Yes.
Where it's like, my prediction, I'm making this up on the fly, I'm making
love it
like
and you've always said this. You've always said this,
and I've always said this. I think that, like, this period of just, like, rapidly changing aesthetics is going to become an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, I do think it's going to be looked back on and be like, that's, like, actually crazy.
Yeah. Well, because it's very, like, 80s core of just, like, mass consumption on the heels of, like, a time of, like, real political upheaval, if that makes sense. It's like the mall got invented in the 80s.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
what we're experiencing is the mall being
It's the
invented,
mall,
but in a different way.
but on the internet.
Yeah.
I do think that, like, it's so funny to see, like, indie sleaze, like, Tumblr core come back in, because that's just sort of how I dressed in high school, and now I just continue to dress that way, and all of a sudden all these things I like wearing are back in style, and I'm like, okay, well, great.
Yeah, because
why did I ever change?
And you didn't, and congratulations.
Thanks.
But yeah, Mary Shelley's awesome.
I'm excited.
There's a real beauty to it of just like, I think we need people who are more like weird and not in like a performative way online, like somebody who's just like a freak.
I love freaks.
Because so often people now are like, I love eating skulls. And you're like,
no.
Why did you make this a voiceover on
Yeah.
TikTok?
Yeah, what's the point?
I need somebody who's being unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
They've posted one single grainy picture of their foot on their Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just over it. I'm over the
yeah.
over aestheticization of artists. I think it's actually detrimental to art. Like, it's the equivalent of like, and we don't have time to get into this, but like the feminization of labor, in that like, if you want to create something because your like worth as a woman is intrinsically related to like your beauty, right? Like, if you want to be like a writer, you have to spend a lot of time like looking pretty.
Yeah.
As compared to other like male writers, or if you want to be an actress, things like that, right? Where it's like the same thing now, where it's like all this energy that could go into like doing anything good is put into making an aesthetic TikTok. And if you want to do it just because you want to do it, that's fine. But I think it's like a problem when like companies are saying like, well, if you want to publish something or if you want to make something, you need to get a lot of followers. So then all of a sudden you just become like a person who's just like really good at making aesthetics, but you're not actually working on the thing that you're making good.
Wasn't I understand that in theory, but also it's like, how do you think you get followers? Like, you know what I mean?
know.
Like, it just feels like you're trapped in this, like, and we talk about this a lot, but like you're trapped in this world where you just have to like make things for yourself forever until someone else can profit off of you.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason why like these really great authors like Sally Rooney or Zadie Smith or whatever are people who just like aren't really online. It's because you can eventually just like ascend to a place where you don't
and then leave.
You don't need to do it. But I see a lot of people get like trapped in that, where I'm like, your personality is so intrinsically connected to like your online identity, you can't leave. Like Troye Sivan used to be online all the time, and then one day was like, I'm no longer a YouTuber, I'm a singer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's some people that can like never leave.
Yeah. I know. Well, it's interesting because I've become obsessed with Addison Rae. I think she's so cool, and I think she's honestly always been kind of slay.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same. Like, to get this new image, she's had to basically burn everything.
Yeah, get rid of it all.
Yeah, get rid of it all. And you've seen the opposite with Charli D'Amelio, who's now in
Bro.
And Juliet on Broadway.
As an ensemble member.
Which, honestly, good for her.
I would love
Good
to
for
know
her.
what that dressing room is like.
Oh, you know it's crazy.
Because it's also just like adult women with like
Yeah.
BFAs in theater who are like amazing dancers having to be like, hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, let's do our collab.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I should actually look into that later. I want to see what the what the backstage vibes are.
I know. I wish there was like a demois, but like just for niche things I care about.
Yeah, there's Sweaty Oracle is like a Broadway one.
Sweaty Oracle.
But I think they sometimes have the Fauxmois or the Dumois. The Fauxmois is the Dumas subreddit. I've exposed myself.
No, I'm so on Reddit. It's not even funny.
I'm sorry. I'm a Redditor.
I know.
I don't comment, but
I comment. I got kicked off of Am I the Asshole? I'm banned.
Because for being too much of an asshole.
It's like provoked violence, I guess, according to the mods.
Sounds like you.
I know. So classic.
Classic Blair.
Stupid.
Invoking violence.
I love Reddit.
I do too. It's just awesome.
It's just nice because I feel like it gets a bad rep for it being like incel dumb. And it's like, well, it's not if you're not on the incel forums.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. And also the whole internet has become such a cesspool now. That like, yeah, it used to be where the incels are, but now they're just out on every other platform as well.
Yeah,
you can't escape it. It's not more toxic than like TikTok comments. Are you kidding me?
Did you know that incel? I recently listened to the audiobook of The Right to Sex, which was honestly mostly stuff I knew, but interesting nonetheless. And incel was a term created by a woman.
I did know this.
From Ottawa.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
Canadian Queen.
And she started it because she was like, oh, I just want like support for other people who haven't been in like relationships and who are like kind of like getting older and like haven't had their first kiss and like are still virgins and stuff like this. Like, it was like a support group. And then she kind of like eventually got into a relationship and kind of left it behind just didn't check in on it until it was like on the news, and it was like these violent incels, and she was like, oh my God.
That's horrible.
Isn't that horrifying?
That's horrifying.
Anyway.
Sorry to her.
Yeah, sorry to her. Okay, let's hear about freaking Mary Shelley.
Okay, strap in. Ooh.
I can't wait. Ooh.
Everybody, Emily Henry announced her new book.
Bitch, what book?
Okay, let me read it to you.
I can't wait.
Everybody, it's been out for weeks at the time that everybody else is not out, but okay. Great Big Beautiful Life.
Yes.
The upcoming book will follow two writers as they vie for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple plot twists up her sleeve. Alice Scott is the eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize-winning human thundercloud.
Human Thundercloud.
Yeah.
That was my nickname in college.
That's your nickname now.
Shut up. You're so mean to me.
I'm not. And they're both on balmy little Crescent Island for the same reason, to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives. But I think they're just like writers trying to write like a woman with a crazy life story.
Can I be so honest right now?
I would love nothing more.
Any book that the setup is these two artists who are just trying to make it go and live on an island for a month to try and write something. And it's like, with what money, girl? Like,
I know.
It breaks the reality for me so hard, like immediately. Or there's always some vague reason that they're rich that I don't believe, because like it'll always be like, oh, they're a lawyer, they're like a top like media influencer or whatever. It's like, okay, I know both lawyers and media influencers. No one has money to go live on an island for a month, babe.
I know. That is true.
Also, like, all your friends would be so mad at you.
Yeah. If you're like, I'm going on an island, I'd be like, what about the podcast?
Can you imagine tomorrow? I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go on an island.
I'm vying for the chance to write a woman's story.
Yeah, and you're going to be like, okay, so...
Feels like you could have ran that by me.
Could have given me a heads up.
That would have been really, really awesome.
Really nice.
Okay, let's talk about Mary Shelley.
Okay, I'm so excited. I love her. Okay, here's my question. Do you think she was bi? I do.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I think she was bi.
Bi queen. What's her star sign?
I don't know.
Okay, wait. I'll look it up.
Okay, well, if I tell you it, will you know? I feel like she's a Virgo. August 30th. That's Virgo?
That's Virgo.
Then she's a Virgo.
Damn.
I wouldn't have pegged her for a Virgo, to be honest. But
Virgos can be pretty... I know quite a few, like, very goth Virgos.
Yeah, and she's chaotic. And I know some Virgos that just destroy their own lives.
Yeah, which
for
is
no
fun.
reason, just for shits and giggles. Yeah. It's interesting. Okay.
Woohoo!
Mary Shelley was born Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin on August 30th.
Crazy name.
1797. I know.
Okay, 1797.
So her father and her mother were both kind of like intellectual icons. Okay,
awesome.
Her father was a political journalist and philosopher with like lots of fans.
And let's bring back philosopher as a job, as a career path.
I agree. That's just what podcasters are now. I feel like that's the niche. Like,
my God, I'm such a philosopher.
Honestly, because
like
a philosopher. People listen. Like, where do you go to listen to people have opinions that they have no business having? It used to be the town square.
Yeah,
and now it's Spotify.
I wish instead of doing the podcast every week, we just went to the town square.
Yeah, we had little boxes, and we just went up and we were like...
We also said, Quebec should be a country.
Let them try.
Let them give it a go.
Yeah. And her mother was feminist icon Mary Wollstonecraft.
Huge.
She's like a renowned feminist, like, writer and
To be a feminist in the 1700s, you gotta be...
No, literally.
Fucking awesome.
No, like, this is, like, your identity. You're committed to being a feminist in that time.
Gorgeous.
Which I love.
Love her. Unless she's bad.
No, I mean, I didn't look into if she was bad. Her thoughts are correct. I'm sure, as with anybody in the past, if I like looked into it too much, she'd say something so racist.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just no way around it.
Yeah, there's no saving that in the 1700s.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So she wrote a vindication of the rights of women.
Cool.
So basically, it argued for like equal education for women.
Because when she meets Thomas Jefferson, She's going to compel him to put women in the sequel.
Work. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world. In the greatest city in the world. It's been a while since we've sung Hamilton on the pod.
We sang it like last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. That's what I mean. It's been a while. So, basically it proposed free public health, free public education.
Awesome.
And co-ed schools, like teaching boys and girls together.
I agree with both those things.
Yeah, both those things, here we are.
Totally agree.
Love that.
Uh-huh.
And also she wanted education based on values, not like superficial merits, which we haven't really got to. No. But that's fine. There's still time.
But I agree.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, 10 days after Mary was born, her mother died from like a postpartum infection.
No.
So her life is kind of, we'll get more into like, I am a bit parasocial with Mary Shelley. We'll talk about like the themes that are kind of present in Frankenstein and how that kind of eventually draws back to, her life is very much like defined by tragedy and defined by like being a child, like basically born into like a tragedy. Like your birth is defined by the tragedy of your mother's passing.
That's awful.
Which can't imagine.
No.
Horrible.
That's rough.
In 1801, her father remarried to Mary Jane Claremont. I just want to note that so far every woman in this story has been named Mary.
This is like all my aunts are technically named Mary, and they go by their middle names.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Every woman is named Mary.
Every woman is named Mary because of Mary, Mother of Jesus.
Of course. Love her.
Love her. Hail Mary, full of grace. Lord be with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women.
Wow. Okay, pop that with the Christianity.
Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
That was amazing.
Do you not know that? It's kind of a bop.
I don't. I know Our Father.
You would. You center men. And
I do.
Yeah.
And I'd do it again.
Okay. I only know Hail Mary.
You only know Hail Mary because you're a feminist.
Yeah, I'm a feminist.
So Mary was not formally schooled, but she grew up using her father's extensive library. And also her father often like kind of held literary saloons, that kind of thing. Cool. Of like salon. Literary saloon is actually kind of iconic. They, walk through those little flapping doors, talk to like old-timey Western prostitutes.
Ain't enough room in this town for the two of us.
Exactly. Lots of showdowns, that kind of thing.
She was shooting up. She was wearing those little bells on her boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Literary salon. So she was surrounded by famous authors and thinkers and very educational people. So she was very well educated for a woman of that time, right? Like just like very well read. Cool. All of those things. Would often talk to was a child that was like talking to adults. Like Wordsworth was at these meetings. Precocious.
She's precocious.
She's absolutely precocious. And so, as Taylor Swift once said, sometimes growing up precocious means never growing up at all.
What the hell is she talking about? I don't. You just edged me into saying something horrible about Taylor Swift every 3 weeks.
I know. I wanted to see. I wanted to see what you said.
What does that even mean? Growing up precocious means you don't ever. What are you talking about?
She has a real disease, and I do like Taylor Swift. I do, but she has a real disease of like saying things in a song that really prove that she thinks it's like a quote.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay.
It's like,
and like the better lyrics are actually the ones that she's not like, like saying it like, fuck, you guys aren't ready for the lyric I have.
Yeah. Whereas like the real quotable lyrics is when Neutral Milk Hotel talks about his brother's semen, and that's...
That maybe for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm behind on that argument.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for you.
I just think it's cool.
Your taste in music and books and movies is such that if it was a man's taste in music, books, movies, it would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, you have the taste in art that an incel has.
I know. I'm sorry.
You're like, Infinite Jest and Neutral Milk Hotel.
I just read Fight Club.
Yeah, you are
it's
crazy.
So good, though. It's so good. Fight Club's super gay.
Well, yeah, Fight Club, the whole thing, I think, is the book is actually understood a lot better than the movie is understood.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will say, just in defense of Neutral Milk Hotel,
I love Neutral Milk Hotel.
And also my interest in, objectively, incel male interests is that a lot of it's just, like, very queer. Yeah. And I feel like guys don't realize that.
Well, that's why when you like it, or when, like, a queer person likes it, it's not scary. But when a man likes it, you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. She was sent to live in Scotland in 1812 at 14 to like live with a family to learn about family life, I guess.
They
I
love
don't
to send children to Scotland.
I don't understand why. I don't really get the value in this, but this is the thing that they did in the past. I don't really understand it. But
Where was she born? Where was she living before this?
This is a great question. England. So I want, but in London. She was born in London.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. Now let's talk about the era of her life defined by Percy Shelley. Okay. So Percy Shelley is an English writer. He's one of the major romantic poets. Very like flowery language, not necessarily said in a bad way, but that's like what the romantics are categorized by, like very emotional lyrics and prose and very flowery.
Sometimes if you grow up precocious, you never grow up at all.
Taylor Swift is a major romantic poet. That's actually a Percy Shelley quote. You're right. Like people don't often know that Taylor Swift just plagiarizes from Percy Shelley exclusively.
Yeah, all of Shake It Off is Percy Shelley.
Hey, hey, hey. Just think while you've been getting down and out about the liars and the haters in the world, you could have been getting down to this sick beat. My ex-man brought his new girlfriend. She's like, oh my God, but I'm just gonna shake it to the fella over there with the hella good hair. And once you come on over, baby, let me shake, shake, shake. Yeah. That's Percy Shelley.
He wrote that riff too at the end of the poem. It just goes like, yeah.
But you know how it sounds.
You know how it sounds.
You know?
Yeah.
So he was a fan of Mary's father's work.
Huge.
So they met when she was 14 and he was 19. Cool age gap. I mean, it's like the 1700s, so like, or the 1800s, so like, what are you gonna do? But they met when he was at her father's house and she was like there. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Because he's like a big fan of the father's writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Their affair was like marked by a lot of scandal for a couple of reasons.
Yeah. The
fact that she was a child.
Yeah.
But also the fact that he was married when they met.
Oh, God. To a man, I hope.
If only.
Damn.
Unfortunately, you couldn't get married to a man if you were a man in the 1800s in England.
Bummer.
I know. For more reasons than you would think. But his wife was Harriet Westbrook.
Cool.
She had a pretty sad life. I'll give you just like the cliff notes because it feels like, we should. Feels like kind of,
We gotta give homage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she is a well-read and charming daughter of an English coffee house owner.
I love that.
Like a bar, I think.
ABC Cafe.
Yeah, and a businessman. She and Percy ran away and got married when she was 16 and he was 18 or 19. This is in 1811.
So this is like the year before.
Yes, they met. Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Percy Shelley is like very much like a ladies' man, like, not necessarily monogamous, that kind of thing. And like would write poems just like to other women and stuff like those kind of.
Is a Polly King.
Polly King, honestly. So due to that, and also Harriet's family not liking him because they like ran away, they were basically separated emotionally by 1814. Like,
oh dear,
they were married. Their marriage was like intact, but they were like living separately, had taken different lovers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And rock on.
But then she took a lover that was a ship captain, had a baby, like got pregnant out of wedlock. And because she was so frightened of the shame that it brought her, she committed suicide.
Oh my God.
Bummer.
Oh, Jesus.
Sad. But this allowed Percy and Mary to get married.
Oh, God. Okay.
Silver linings.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it, Mary.
And don't worry about it.
And don't worry about it. It's fine.
And don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yes.
Just kind of the way things
So
go.
she drowned herself in December.
Okay. Jeez, okay.
1816.
Bummer.
Real old-timey way to kill herself,
Yeah.
Women, it's seemingly in the past, were just simply walking into the Thames.
Yeah. I get it.
There is a certain drama to it.
I definitely have a call to drown myself.
I really don't.
Yeah, I have a big call.
Pills.
You're called to pills?
I'm called to pills.
Yeah, I'm definitely called to drowning.
Like, I think if I had a different stomach, if I didn't have IBS, I would be the kind of person, I mean, not in the modern day, but it feels like in the past I would have drunk myself to death. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes, okay.
Taking a bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
That feels true to me.
Yes. I see that.
But maybe I would have died how Edgar Allan Poe died, where they used to bring people to different, like, polling stations. Like, when there was an election, they would just, because there was no way to, like, verify.
Yeah.
They would just get random people super drunk and then put them in wigs and shit and bring them to different polling booths and make them vote. So that's how
not
people,
funny, but that's so funny.
People think that's why he died. Like he got like.
I learned that this year. I feel like
I told you this
because
somebody told me this, and I was like, that's actually my favorite fact.
That's bananas.
Wild that we don't. That's not the first thing we know about him. That should be the first thing we know about him.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh yes.
Wow.
I mean, I don't love him because he did get married to his 13-year-old cousin, but as a Maryland girly, we really do stan Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
The first escape room I ever did was an Edgar Allan Poe escape room.
Was there like a heart under the floorboards?
That would be awesome. I don't remember it enough because I also didn't like read his work to like get it. There was somebody trapped in the walls.
Yeah.
What else is the third one? There's a raven.
Yeah. There's a raven. There's another one that I feel like
the Cask of Amontillado is the one. That's the one with the guys in the wall.
The guys on the wall, but then there's also one where there's a heart.
The telltale heart is the one where the heart's in the floor.
The heart's in the floor. And because then the raven is when the raven goes nevermore.
Yes. Does the raven go nevermore?
Quoth the raven nevermore.
Wow, I did not connect that.
What?
That the raven is saying nevermore.
Isn't
That's crazy. No, you're right. I'm not.
Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening?
I think so. I'm not challenging you. It's just I never thought of it that way.
Oh.
Okay, moving on. But that was a really good detour. I feel like we learned a lot. Blah 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 blah. So that was in 1816. Go back to they met in 1811.
Huge.
But they meet again in 1814.
Okay.
She's 16. He's 21.
Oh my. Okay.
They hung out a lot on her mother's grave. Like Mary Shelley loved her mom's grave. She hung out there like basically daily. She would write there. She would read there. She'd just chill there. She learned to write her name by tracing her mother's name on the gravestone. Like she's just a goth. Like she's just unfortunately hardcore.
Yeah.
So they kind of would fall in love because he would meet her at her mother's grave and they would talk and things like that.
Wow.
And then she lost her virginity to him on her mother's grave.
That's punk rock.
And we know the exact date, which is kind of crazy, but it's June 26th, 1814, if you wanted to know. They had sex on her mother's grave.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
That is cool. That is, unfortunately, that's
it's
very hardcore.
It's unfortunately incredibly hardcore.
Unfortunately, it's hardcore. I like that she just, like, documented it for the public, too.
Yeah, I bet what it was like, in her diary, she was like, had sex on my mother's grave today. And then a historian later was like, okay, I've got to make this known.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So July of 1814, they elope to France, accompanied by Mary's stepsister, Claire Claremont. Tough name. If I knew my last name was Claremont, I don't know if I would name my child Claire, but go off, I guess.
Well, this is like what if I was a boy, my parents are going to name me Dylan MacMillan.
That's insane. And you actually really dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I really did. That's Blair.
Blair is much better than Dylan.
Blair's much better. Yeah, even though I do have the name of a Scottish politician, but
that's okay.
It's fine.
That's fine.
It rocks.
It does rock.
It rocks.
So at this point still in the narrative, Harriet is still alive.
Okay.
So they elope, basically being like, I had to look up the difference between like eloped in the past and eloped now because I'm like, if I went, I got eloped.
I'd be like, you're married.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it just means like running away with the intention of getting married. So it's like engaged kind of moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But it's not official yet. And then when she kills herself, then they get married for real. Oh, no. And they return to England and are ostracized by society because of this, the age gap, his wife killing herself, his wife killing herself, and also the relationship between Mary and her father is very strained because of this. He was very upset at her for running away.
Oh, no.
So there's that. Also, another kind of tragic thing that happened. So in December of 1816, that's when Harriet killed herself. But in October of 1816, Mary's half-sister, who was an illegitimate child between Mary's mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, and a politician, I believe, killed herself as well.
Oh, no.
So there's just a lot of tragedy in her life. You know, they're just surrounded by death. Specifically, you don't really realize this until I'm like reading this a lot, but like the death of women, like just women be killing themselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In her life.
Well, it's even like just like the amount of women that die in like child related things is so bananas.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's
like,
dangerous.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And still incredibly dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're like a black woman, like it's so dangerous for you to give birth. It's horrific.
It's insane.
Okay. Bummer.
Bummer topic.
Sorry guys.
Bummer.
On the bright side, this relationship between Percy and Mary was incredibly artistically fulfilling and fruitful for both of them. He wrote a shit ton of poems. He wrote For Mary about her, which is one of his famous poems. He wrote a lot because of her. And Mary has said in, like, I guess it was an interview. I don't really know what an interview was in the 1800s.
Yeah.
But, like, that he was very anxious for her to... Because he knew she came from this like very academic line. Like he was like, your father is an icon, your mother is an icon. Like she was like, he was very anxious for me to like live up to my lineage. Like he knew that I had the capacity to be a great writer and really encouraged that.
That's cool.
I know. So they were writing all the time. They were moving around a lot, and there was like always issues of money because Mary was cut off from her father, that kind of thing. So they had to borrow money.
Oh, we cut her
things
off
like that.
because of the elopement? That's rough. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. But they were also like just very, very artistically fruitful at this time and really loved each other.
And also, sure, rent was 3 shillings. How hard
like,
could it have been?
It's like your friend being like, can I borrow a quarter? And you're like, yeah, man. Also, everybody owns like, if you're not like a servant, everybody owns like 7-room mansions. So it's like, just come and stay with me for a bit, you know?
Like whenever we got estranged, so we had to go stay at the smaller castle.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
Truly, you're fine.
Relax.
They also had 5 children with only one surviving to adulthood.
Okay.
The majority of these children died like either literally in childbirth, months to like years after. Like I think the oldest one was like 3. Like they died very, very young. And this really obviously like destroyed and really upset Mary.
That's got to be rough.
The miscarriage was really tough on her. There was a miscarriage that almost killed her. Like really tough. They have one surviving child. His name is, I believe, Percy as well. But he's a little bit later. But I just wanted to say that because again, there's like this theme of familial death, surrounded by death and marked by tragedy, these kinds of things.
Horrible.
Okay? They were low-key poly, not even low-key, like they were poly.
Yeah.
Like Percy and Mary Shelley were like just polyamorous in the past, full stop.
Awesome.
He pursued romantic and sexual relationships with other women. He was a ladies' man.
Mm.
She pursued emotional relationships with men and women by Queen.
Awesome.
And she's been like on the record stating that she does not believe in exclusive marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the past, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like so forward thinking of being like, we don't believe in like that a marriage inherently means that.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And I think that's why, you know, you hear the story. And again, I'm not blaming Harriet. Like what happened to her is very tragic. But I think it's interesting how positive generally their marriage is. Because I think they are on the same page. Like she's also an artist and also like, go be with other women. I'm going to be with other women.
That's cool.
It's cool.
Good for her.
Love it.
And good for
Just
her.
thought that was interesting.
That is really interesting.
Now we're going to talk about kind of Gothic literature and the creation of Frankenstein.
Huge.
We talked a little bit about this in the pop culture episode, so I'm not going to like speed run it, but just what you need to know, right? To understand why Gothic literature was having a moment. This novel is like basically the creation of science fiction, and I would argue not the creation of horror, but like I saw a Instagram post that was like talking about H.P. Lovecraft as being like the icon of horror, and I just disagree.
No,
First of all, he had a cat named N-word Jim, which I learned in university, and I was like, we need to, so no.
Well, H.P. Lovecraft, I feel like was more, I'm not a horror historian in any way, but like, I feel like I associate him more with like monsters.
Yes.
Than I do with like horror. Like I feel like Cthulhu and stuff was really influential, but like
it's giving Godzilla.
It doesn't have the like suspense and the psychological element that you associate with horror.
Yeah, and I feel like she's like a modern mother. Like she's the mother of modern
She's a mother.
horror. Like the way in which she's kind of created, because it is like a literary book, but a horror book it's very similar. It's not like, again, short stories. Like it's like a novel, which I just think is interesting. I love her. I will go to bat for her.
Yeah.
So Gothic literature is based heavily on atmosphere and setting, along with like supernatural elements and melodrama. So, you know, thinking about like the romantic poets, it's kind of like the other end of that, of like very, very high emotions, very gloomy and atmospheric, lots of like fog and clouds and it's cold. It's not like a sunny beach moment.
The pathetic fallacy of it all.
And supernatural elements, because it's oftentimes horror.
Awesome.
So we know that like in horror, oftentimes it reflects like the anxieties of the time, and like novels often just like reflect what's going on at the time.
For sure.
This is like beginning of the Age of Enlightenment. So like Frankenstein, of course, is about Dr. Victor Frankenstein, who creates the creature out of like body parts, basically creates from a dead person, creates a live person, and then hates what he's created and doesn't like it anymore, doesn't want it to be around, and basically abandons it.
Horrifying.
And the book itself is a lot of the POV is from the creature being like, what was I made for?
Meow, 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 meow.
That's the creature, guys, so feel fucking bad. Imagine the creature doing that.
That's so sad.
That's really fucking sad.
That's literally sad when you put it that way.
And the creature wants Dr. Frankenstein to like make him a girlfriend, and then Dr. Frankenstein is like, no, like it's very sad, and it's kind of like, again, familial relationships and death and grief, like bringing people back to life, all that stuff. And again, this idea of people were kind of wary or questioning of science. Thank God that's not happening anymore. We love science now. But being like, is this playing God, right? And that's, again, Frankenstein bringing a person to life, that kind of thing, right? So that's kind of what it's reflecting at the time, this like growing knowledge. People just like knew more than they did.
Which is horrifying to have like a new like I can't imagine going from like knowing nothing to all of a sudden being like, guess what?
Guess what? Here's what a heart is.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of things you never would have fathomed in your wildest dreams.
But it's real.
Get ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it deals a lot with like the uncanny. Like it's not like, I mean, I don't know how you would even do this in a novel, but it's not like jump scares. Again, talking about monsters. It's not necessarily monsters. It's like this feeling of unease, often created by like body horror. You feel uncanny when you see like a dead body because you're like, that's me, but it's dead.
Yeah. Feels wrong.
Yes, exactly. Or just like creepy shit. When you see creepy shit, you hate it because it just feels wrong. Yeah. So that's kind of like the vibe of it. We're doing a speed run of this because you don't need to know it all, but it is very interesting. You should also read Frankenstein. It's fantastic. I think I'm going to reread it in this like October vibe. I mean, it's October end of you guys, for you guys, but I feel like it's kind of like
it's
read it in November.
It's a fall book.
It's a fall to like winter gloomy book.
Gloomy book. I should reread it.
So the reason why the Gothic was brought on in a lot of ways is because we've talked about this before, but Mount Tambora, the volcano, erupted in 1815, creating like the summer without sun. That's horrifying. Which is crazy to think about.
No, it's crazy.
So it was a volcano on the island of Sumbawa in Indonesia. It erupts in 1815. It was categorized as one of the most frightful eruptions recorded in history. In the province of Tambora, there was a population of 12,000. Only 26 survived. Like, just deadly. It was 7,000 times more explosive than Mount St. Helen.
Oh, my God.
4 times as more explosive than Krakatoa. Like, it was unfathomably really bad.
Yeah. Like, it was, like, really bad.
It was, it was, like, really bad.
Guys, it was, like, really bad.
Like, it was really fucking bad. You might think that volcanoes are fun. Do you remember when Jennifer Lawrence rubbed her butt on, like, a sacred indigenous rock?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was in Hawaii.
That. Probably.
On a volcano.
Sounds like something she'd do.
Honestly, it does. And I think she shouldn't have done that. Brave take on my part. Don't rub your butt on stuff anyway. Like, it doesn't even, like, even if it wasn't, why are you rubbing your ass on a volcano? I don't think we need that.
I get, like, I don't like the butt stuff. Like, I don't like, maybe I'm a prude, but whenever someone's like, what if I'm going to touch my butt to this? I'm like, give it a break.
Yeah, it's not what you think. It's not giving what you think it's giving.
It's the same when people say pussy. I think it's disgusting.
I agree. I don't care for it.
Shut up. I don't care for it. I don't care for butt stuff. Come on.
So it killed 100,000 people in the immediate aftermath.
Jesus.
Very, very deadly.
Oh my God.
But it also sent 2 million tons of rock, volcanic ash, and sulfur into the atmosphere.
Horrible.
So it basically created this like massive cloud and like changed the weather, right?
And would they have known in England that it was because of the volcano?
I think they probably got news eventually, but like they couldn't do anything about it. It killed crops. It was just like a cold and very, very gloomy time in England. Like even more so
than usual.
Like it's just so it was
famously gloomy place.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's fog, there's frost. People are starving and revolting because crops are failing. Vibes are bad.
Okay.
While this is happening, Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley want to go on a messy vacation, so they go and hit up Lord Byron in Geneva.
Rock on.
Okay?
Awesome.
So it's in May of 1816. They go to Lake Geneva in Switzerland, and they're going because Claire Claremont, Mary Shelley's stepsister, is pregnant with Lord Byron's baby.
Yes.
And she's like, surprised. He's like running away from her, basically, because he doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is flop. And she's like, well, we're going to surprise him and be like, hey. I'm pregnant with your child.
Yeah. So
Thoughts on that?
Out.
Thoughts on that?
Thoughts on that? We've come to hang.
Now, we know Lord Byron to be a chaotic icon. He had a ton of affairs with men and women. Very hot, very queer. There was the term Byron mania that was coined by, I think, his wife at the time.
That's awesome.
Just being like, he was a writer. very kind of like flamboyant and sexy.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up Johnny Depp because he sucks, but like it's to me it's very much Captain Jack Sparrow. That's like what I'm imagining of somebody where it's like you are acting gay, but you're very, very just kind of like hot and flirtatious vibes. That's my imagination. That's what my imagination is doing. Okay.
And Captain Jack Sparrow is different than Johnny Depp. Let's be so
We need
clear.
to divorce that character from him because I think we need to take it back. We can't give that to him.
Yeah, we need in this messy situation Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes. So Byron had left Europe because he had divorced his wife, had an affair with his half sister. Claire was pregnant with his baby. Like he's just being.
Yeah.
Why? You can't have an affair with your half sister.
No,
like that's
you
insane.
Can't. You've reached a point of no return with that one. What are you gonna do?
They can't do that, Byron. Like that's insane.
Yeah, you just no.
So Claire was trying to track Byron down, right? They go to Switzerland. He's there.
Huge.
He comes back into town with his doctor. The doctor is there. Just feels like we need to talk about that because why the fuck is the doctor there? Why is he just traveling with his personal doctor?
No, this is like an ongoing theme. People are always like, the doctor was there, the dentist gave us drugs.
Why are you hanging out with your doctor or dentist?
What is this?
That makes no sense to me. And the doctor was there. Love that.
And the doctor said, well, let's get you some pills.
Okay, wait, ready? I got one. So Lord Byron was having an affair with his half-sister.
But luckily, she had a full set of tits. It's really good.
Okay. The weather is so bad they basically have to stay inside the whole time they're at this like mansion.
Due to the volcano.
Yes, like it's just stormy, it's cold, whatever.
Awesome.
And they're the kind of freaks that like when they're staying inside, Lord Byron is going to be like, what if we all have a competition to see who can write the best ghost story? You know what I mean? Like, sure.
Yeah. Like, sure.
Yeah.
You sound so annoying right now.
Yeah, but I guess that's what this group of people would love to do.
No, it's like hanging out with your friend who's like, let's make some content.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't want to make a TikTok right now.
Yeah.
Respectfully, why can't we just, what if we talk? What if we just hang out and talk?
What if we make some content right now?
Wouldn't it be fun if we just made some content?
Wouldn't it be fun if we made some content?
I think it would just be good to like use this time.
I just really think we should use this time to make some content.
Yes. So they did this because also like everybody was fighting being inside. This is a crazy group of people. Everyone's mad.
Awesome.
Byron is annoyed with Claire because she's trying to enchant him apparently. But
so
I also
annoying
kind of
that
feel
you're
like
pregnant and trying to enchant me right now. I hate when that happens.
I love this. Mary had to fight off sexual advances from the doctor, which awesome. Great. Because he had become obsessed with her. Percy is just kind of depressed in general. Like, vibes are not awesome.
No, this rocks.
So Byron's like, let's all write some ghost stories.
Yeah.
Let's go to our separate corners. I'm not claiming this child. Let's write some ghost stories. And the idea of Frankenstein had come to Mary in a dream. I don't really understand this, but it's basically like she had a dream about this in some capacity.
Yes.
Great. Okay. And she wrote it. Everyone loved it. Byron was like, you should finish that. She's 19 at the time, which is
so
nuts.
cool.
It gets published in 1818, and it was basically a hit. Like, I feel like this is interesting, too, because oftentimes, like, it's like the Jane Austen of it all, being, like, not really a success until much, much later, things like that. But everyone was like, we actually fucking love this.
Yeah.
It was published anonymously.
Yes.
A lot of people thought Percy wrote it, which I was like to imagine. It's like, you know, when, like, you see somebody, like, an author's, like, I would imagine if, like, it was, like, an author had a partner and the partner kept, like, posting the book on their Instagram story. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, where he's like, you know what book is actually really awesome? Frankenstein. And they're like, did you write it, Percy? He's like, no. Yeah, and it's got, like, very, for the time, colloquial language and kind of, like, a simple to read. I wouldn't argue that that's how it is now. I think it's very literary. But at the time, it's like, oh, my God, this book fucking rocks.
Yeah.
Beautifully written, very easy to read.
Yeah.
About a monster. And the monster's actually not Frankenstein. The doctor is actually Frankenstein. The monster's the creature. And Mary's name was not included until 1831, but then it was included.
That's actually earlier than I would have thought.
And she was like alive at the time, I believe.
Okay, that's
so,
awesome.
Yes.
Good for her.
Good for her. Now, end of her life. Let's talk about not even the end of her life. This is literally basically from like 20 onwards.
So the end of her life.
So the end of her life. So Percy Shelley dies in 1822 in a sailing accident. She's very, very sad about this. She's widowed at 24, which is actually kind of nuts to think about. Like, the front half of her life is so packed.
Jam-packed, yeah.
Like, it's jam-packed, and then the end of, like, the rest of her life, she's just like, whatever. It's kind of crazy.
Hanging out.
Like, from ages 14 to 24, that's a 10-year period in which she runs away with a married man, travels the world, has 5 kids, 4 of them dies, writes Frankenstein, then she's widowed.
Oh my God.
Like, it's kind of crazy.
No, that's nuts. I feel like that happens to a lot of people, though. It feels like all the action in their life is compacted into like 10 years.
This is what I feel like. I feel like I'm preparing myself for that.
Oh, for me, it's going to be 35 to 45.
Yes.
I just know it.
It's not now, and I think I've kind of accepted that now, being like, I don't need to be like constantly working myself to death's door because I need to actually be saving this for like the 10 years of my life where like shit is happening.
Yeah, like shit's going to hit the fan in a huge way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And because I'll be like 34, I'm not going to have the energy that I have right now, so I really just got to like rest, you know?
Yeah, and you got to get your stamina up.
This definitely. But hers is like so young, which is kind of crazy.
Bananas.
So after
like Demi
this,
Lovato.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy. That was literally that like clip from Demi Lovato's show. That's about her schedule.
Yeah.
From Disney Channel years. That's
Crazy.
Mary Shelley. That's Mary Shelley's
really
schedule.
and Frankenstein is her cool for the summer.
Literally.
Dude.
Kiss one another. Die for each other.
We're cool for the summer.
That's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of feel like Mary Shelley would like that.
No, that song rocks.
Yes.
I just like that it's a song about being like the summer's so fun, but it's said so angrily.
It's like a cool rock. She's got some good. I really liked her Disney Channel stuff.
I missed her era. I
wasn't a big fan of her when she was on Disney Channel, but later I've come to appreciate it because she was really trying to do her little rock thing. I liked her show. She was on Sunny with a Chance, she was on child SNL. Like, it was about a girl from Wisconsin who wins a contest and gets cast on child SNL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so love that.
I thought she had a radio show.
No.
God,
no, it's like child SNL.
That damn show. I know Camp Rock.
Yes, also great. That movie is so actually good.
It's actually fun.
It's actually really good. It's actually really, really good.
And then what was the song? She had this one song that I loved where she was like, La
La Land Machine?
Yeah.
Who says I can't wear my Converse with my dress on, baby?
There was another one.
That's Mary Shelley Core, actually.
Okay.
She also had This Is Real, This Is Me, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. She has she's got a great voice.
Oh my God, can I just say, we just got an email to the Girl Historians Gmail, and someone starts it with, and this is you, I won't dox you on the pod, but she says, just like Mary Shelley, I lost my virginity in a graveyard.
Really?
Yeah, literally just got an email to Girl Historians saying
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, congratulations.
So that's you. I won't put you on blast, but we got your email during the recording of this episode.
That's actually really, really nuts. So congratulations.
Congrats on that. You rock. And also, sorry, we'll respond to the email soon.
I know, there's just a lot, but we will.
But we love you.
We do love we read them all. Let's say that.
Yeah, we read them all. This is real. Okay. This just feels aggressive.
Okay, we can finish this. We're literally almost done. There's like 5 more bullet points left.
Okay, I can't wait.
So she goes back to England to continue raising their only son, right? She's like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to continue to further and preserve the legacy of Percy. Very artist's wife of it all, right?
Huge.
Like, if you know about any writers from the past, it's because they have like a wife who's willing to like preserve their legacy and all that shit, obviously. And wrote and edited to support herself. So she actually has a couple of other novels, which I didn't know. And I'm interested to look into them because
I want to read them.
You don't like hear about them the way you hear about Frankenstein.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Finally, Mary kept Percy Shelley's calcified heart to remember him. And when she died, it was found wrapped in one of his poems. Like, she had a paper. It was a calcified heart wrapped in the paper of poems that he wrote.
Dude.
That's metal.
She's so punk.
Literally.
She's so punk rock.
The poem that he wrote, it was Adonis. It was basically an elegy for Keats when Keats died. And there's like really beautiful lines of being like, if he's dead, I'm dead kind of thing. Like, really beautiful. She's just honestly fucking rock and roll. I'm obsessed with her.
Dude, she's so cool.
And finally, she dies on February 1st, 1851, at the age of 53, from brain cancer.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay.
Crazy.
I didn't
know that was like a thing back then.
I know.
Which sounds really stupid.
It sounds stupid, but like I just don't associate brain cancer with the olden days.
No, neither do I.
I feel like they had enough going on with the plagues.
You don't need to add cancer onto that.
Brain cancer.
Cancer feels very now.
I feel like, but like especially brain cancer, like maybe like stomach cancer, like leg cancer.
Yes.
Liver. Cancer of the liver, cancer
Something
of the
like
leg.
that. But not.
No.
Yeah, they can have the face cancer that the maggots were falling off from Reese's episode. But like.
Yeah.
Just brain? How do you know that that's what it is?
Yeah,
Science was just invented.
Yeah, the brains were just invented.
Literally what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. But that's the story of Mary Shelley.
I
very
love
spooky,
it.
very spooky Halloween episode. Now, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's make this tragedy about us. I love this. Okay, so Blair,
Carley.
this actually feels awesome.
Yeah, this feels amazing.
Okay, Blair, for this week's Let's Make This Tragedy About Us, what do you think Mary Shelley would like in modern day? What are things about her that she would really, because what would she as a kind of goth hardcore girl love nowadays?
Shut up. I hate that music.
I kind of love it.
What would she love?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I think that she would love Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
Second album, Under My Skin.
Little tie.
Yeah. Little tie.
Over a tank top.
But especially when she does oh my god, when she does like the dark, like she wants to go home but nobody's home. I also think she would love, oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. She would love Beetlejuice.
Oh my god,
I think she would love
Beetlejuice.
I think she would love Beetlejuice.
She would love Beetlejuice. She would love Tim Burton, I feel.
I think she would love Tim Burton. And I also think she would love the like a thunderstorm noisemaker.
Oh my god, yeah, she loves ambiance. YouTube 12-hour ambiance room thunderstorm.
Yeah, it's like ASMR. You're in the middle of a thunderstorm and a war is going on.
She would love that.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think she would love?
Okay, great question. I think that she would love drugstores and being able to get purple lipstick from the drugstore.
Yes.
It feels like something that she would really identify with.
She would love Revlon Black Cherry.
Yes. Arctic Monkeys.
Oh my god.
Feels like Mary Shelley really missed out on Alex Turner.
Yeah.
And I feel for
her.
She would have loved Alex Turner. She would have loved Tumblr. I really feel like.
She's kind of giving Alexa Chung.
She's giving Alexa Chung to me. I agree. And I think she would have really loved Tumblr.
Yes.
Like I honestly feel, and this is going to sound really crazy, that I feel as though I have been like punished and I've been denied Mary Shelley street style.
Yes.
I feel like if she was around now, she would be turning.
Oh yeah.
Looks.
You just know she was wearing cloaks.
Yes. And like little shoes. I don't know what she would wear, but it feels like in modern day, like she would be kind of like a Chloe Sevigny.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
She would have been in the 360
music video.
Yes.
She'd be getting out of the car.
Yes, I think she would be really kind of like offended and terrified by Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes.
I think that Espresso would like really like kind of like assault her senses. I don't think she would, nothing against Sabrina Carpenter, but I just feel like she would be like very confused by that.
Obviously, I feel like she'd love Susie and the Banshees.
Yes. Well, there's a couple of give-me's, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a couple of like, obviously she would love like goth music and like punk and stuff like that.
Yeah, she would love those Jeffrey Campbell kind of like boots that are
oh my god, the
tie-up boots.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
You know, like she'd have like clonkers, like
yes,
huge clonking boots.
Huge clonking boots.
Yeah, huge clonking boots. I also feel like she would really love just like I think she would love like an aesthetic. Like I do think she would have like a really killer Pinterest board.
But she would be the kind of person that like it's very like effortlessly her. You know what I mean? Like she would be an it girl, but again, she'd be like a Chloe Sevigny where it's like it's just because of her vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are trying to be her, but you can't be her because she's herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like her life would have been defined like obviously she's with Percy Shelley, love her, but I feel like she would also date a mumblecore director.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That feels correct to me.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Okay, obsessed. I feel like that, and that's our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you for joining. I really love that, Carly. Thank you. And
we didn't really use that one.
No, we didn't. Don't worry if you hate the soundboard. We're never touching it again.
I know. So sorry. We had to do it once. If you really love it.
If we get really good feedback.
Then we will use the soundboard again. It's just like we didn't know it was going to be here.
No,
and then when we showed up, it's like they've put a toy. This is like a social experiment.
It's like if you put a bop it on the table and said, don't touch it.
We're going to touch the bop it.
I'm going to be like, I want to bop it, twist it.
I've never
yank
wanted
it.
to twist it more in my fucking life.
No, I would never pick this up of my own volition.
But now that
you
you've told me
put
I
it
can't
here,
have the bop it.
I need a
We
bop
will
it.
chill going forward.
Yeah. It's the same when someone brings over like a fidget toy or like slime or something.
You're like, I don't need a fidget toy in my life, but now that it's here.
Now that it's here, I'm like, I need to touch it.
Yes. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Ooh.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.
Sonar.